What are you doing?
I'm writing the deal.
You're not serious.
No, I'm serious. Very serious.
You all right?
Yeah, I'm fine. Right before I leave, what would you have paid?
600, and you would have taken?
475.
So we made a good deal.
Actually, I lied. I would have taken 4.
They did pick the quiet room for you, didn't they?
Yes, they did. I think they're all about the same. And that's a clip.
Hysterical.
Well, that was a clip from Arbitrage. It's a new Richard Gere movie, and we were listening to that, but also we're listening to the construction site, which we have arranged.
This is a good sign, isn't it, London? That it's very prosperous right now.
That's
There's
right.
construction going on.
Lots of
People
stuff.
being hired.
Yes, this is good. We're looking
People
on the bright
employed.
side. Yeah, but apart from that, it's very irritating. Anyway, there's a new Richard Gere movie, which is a very exciting thing. Can you explain the title, Richard, before we go any further? Arbitrage, what is that?
Well, arbitrage it's quite simple, actually. You buy at a certain price and you sell at a higher price. And, very often this is between countries and whatever, but someone is smart enough to buy low and sell dear.
So, your character, Robert Miller, a hedge fund manager. Now, in the course of the last few years, we've had hedge funds explained a lot as to the stuff that they do and the good things that they do and the bad stuff that they do. I know you've spoken to a lot of Wall Street traders. Can you explain what Robert Miller does and how he operates?
They can't explain what they do.
No, come on.
No, seriously.
It's your movie.
They cannot explain what they do. That's
mad.
No, it's madness, yes. But because they have suits, and we believe people in suits, basically, that they have some kind of magic. We actually talk about it in the film. The reality is, if you just bought stocks at the normal exchange rate, you would do just as well as going through any of the hedge managers.
Okay, now this is disappointing because I was hoping that you would be able to explain some of this. But how come when you talk about hedge funds, the amounts that you're talking about are so eye-wateringly high?
Mm-hmm. But it's a shill game, basically. They believe that these managers, people believe. In the U.S., I'm sure it's the same here. Pension funds, municipal funds, all these things. They believe that there are experts who know how to make enormous amounts of money with your money, and you will get a piece of that.
Are you saying
the reality is it's a shill game. They don't know any more than anybody else.
Right. So is it smoke and mirrors?
Exactly. You're laughing, but it's actually true.
Yeah, I know, but you kind of hope that once you get to
people
know what they're talking
there are
about.
Experts out there that know. But as we found out with the financial crisis, no one could explain what these derivatives are. You ask me, I have no idea what they are. The ones that fell apart, these financial instruments, the tea is arriving now, which is making me very happy.
Especially embossed China.
Very nice.
As Robert Miller would expect. In fact, this whole room where we are is very Miller-esque.
Unbelievably beautiful girl just brought it in now, and of course, Robert Miller.
Can you so tell us about Robert Miller and his family and what he does, because he's a very interesting character.
Well, we meet this guy. You saw the movie?
Yes.
Good. We meet this guy
from start to finish,
all the way through. You lasted the whole
through.
way. We meet this guy at the top of his game, or he appears to be at the top of his game. He's a guy in his private jet. He's doing deals. He has these wonderful people working for him.
All very beautiful.
All beautiful, yes, with beautiful suits, beautiful Brioni suits on everybody. And he has his limo, and everything is in motion, and he's doing deals in the car, and he gets home, and he has the perfect presents for his kids, and it's his 60th birthday, and everyone is happy and prosperous, and it's a beautiful house with art around it, but he has to leave because he has some work to do.
Mm-hmm.
He has a daughter who's quite extraordinary, who may be taking over the business, and she's very bright. And we find out that he has a mistress, and we find out that there are complications in this guy's life. And there's one thing after another tends to deconstruct him as we go along in the movie. And the pressure of a ticking clock and this deconstruction and some rather large events in his life is what really the story's about.
Yeah. And what makes the movie so fascinating, Richard, I think, is the fact that this isn't...
By the way, I've never told that before. I usually refuse to do that. I hate to tell a story or plot or anything. So you got it first.
Okay. How did I manage to do that?
I don't
Was
know.
it my incessant...
It's the first one of the morning. I'll never do it again.
Okay, well, we'll copyright that and then sell it in case anybody else needs to know. But
I just want a piece of it.
What's fascinating about it is that this isn't Wall Street. You haven't made him into... I mean, clearly he's up to no good, and he's done some good things, and he's done some bad things.
Well, he's a mentality, of course. He is a shark, you know. He's in motion, and we shoot him in motion. Everything about him is motion. And that's a lot of what these guys do. It's all in motion. They never stop long enough for us to really evaluate them or their lives. They don't stop long enough to evaluate. And there's something, you know, the more I talked to these guys and thought about it and started playing the character, I realized that there was some emotional transition that never happened with a lot of these guys. That they're gamblers. But it's very boyish. It's about playing games. And it's about winning the game. In the end, it's not about the money. I really don't think it's about money with these guys. It's about winning.
But at one point, your character says, money, what else is there? So you kind of think, well...
Well, but the money isn't about what I can do with the money. All the money is how do you prove that you win? What are the markers of winning? Well, I have a bigger house, or I have more money, or I have a boat, or I have more people working for me, or I have more beautiful people working for me. But these are the markers of having won.
So where's Robert Miller's moral compass then? Does he have one?
Yeah, he does, and I think that's why ultimately we care about him. I mean, when he started screening this movie, I had friends of mine calling me up, and they were very angry with me because the guy obviously is morally, ethically marginal.
That's
at
a good
best.
word. Yep.
And but we root for him. There's something about him. We actually want him to get out of trouble and have things turn out well for him. And frankly, that's my job as an actor, to make him a human being. And what I've been saying from the very beginning, I don't see this guy do anything that we're not capable of. Us normal people who have a normal moral compass.
So we're judging you, but we're kind of hoping that...
Well, I think he's a mirror in many ways. When we see, I'm sure there's a certain amount of admiration when we see guys like this. There's certainly a built-in distrust and anger towards them with their success, and our assumption is that they're greedy. They couldn't have been successful unless they were incredibly greedy and cut the corners somehow. So we admire their success. We want them to fail. We basically want to beat them up. They're the punching bags of the moment.
That makes us more complicated than they are, doesn't it?
We're all the same. We're all... Do you know anyone who's simple? In your whole life, have you ever met a simple person? I have not.
There's a couple of singers I've met many years ago. Yeah.
Recently? No.
No, a few years back. It's another story and another interview. What was it that enticed you to come on board with this movie? You have a first-time director, which I think you did for Chicago, but apart from that, you haven't done that before. What was it about this?
But at least Rob had done a television musical. He did Annie on TV before him, but he'd never done a feature before. It was Rob Marshall on...
Yeah, so this is Nick Jarecki.
But Nick had never done anything. He'd done a documentary. And, the script is terrific. And frankly, he should have gotten a lot more attention from the various award shows for this script, because it's one of the best scripts I've read ever. The structure, the storytelling, each of these characters has a worldview, and they speak from that worldview. They project a universe from their own worldview. It's not easy to do in a screenplay. In the end, the story was great. The character was great. I hadn't played him before. I instinctively knew that it would be something I could give myself to. And it spoke to the times. I mean, this is a character of our moment.
But what made you... Absolutely, and I can understand the character and the script, but he hadn't done it before. So it must have been a gamble for you, and there must have been moments where he was thinking...
My first instinct was no. Yeah. I'm not going to do this. I don't care how good the screenplay is. But I said, look, he wrote this screenplay. He has the soul of an artist. Let's meet. So we spent a couple days together, and I suppose I tested him in many different ways to see what he was made of. And I could see that this was a movie guy. He knows movies, and he listens, and he wants it to be better, always better. You know, he didn't have that kind of defensiveness of someone who's starting, who is insecure of their position. He's very secure, and therefore open to a better idea constantly.
So I just wonder if I was him, I'd be thinking, I'm directing Richard Gere.
He got over that pretty quick. I mean, I just saw him outside. He was just at the Dublin Film Festival?
Yes.
Yeah. And, you know, he's very energetic, slightly manic, and never stops. But we got along real well. And through the shoot, again, it was very collaborative. Clearly, he was the director. But, again, he was always open to something that might make it better.
There's a question that I've always wanted to ask you.
Well, this is not the time to do it, my
Well,
friend.
this is the perfect time to do. My surname is Mayo.
Mayo.
Simon Mayo. That's my name.
Uh-huh. So you had to deal with this your
I
whole
had
life.
to deal with Officer and a Gentleman.
Yes, your entire life.
Right, Zach Mayo, and of course this whole fantastic routine as you're being
I deeply apologize.
mayonnaise and my children, and so
I'm sorry, I've ruined your life.
there wasn't
and
a
your
lot.
children's life.
That's right, you
This is
absolutely. But it was from that moment. We didn't have a lot of mayonnaise in this country in 1982 or whatever it was.
When did mayonnaise actually come to England?
Oh, I don't know. It's Portuguese. The Portuguese invented it. I think it's from Port Mahon.
No, I'm really sorry. I'm deeply sorry.
But Zach Mayo, we're thinking
This
is
had to be the
great.
first interview, too. A man tells me I've ruined his life. First interview. Thank you very much. Who arranged this?
I have a listener's question from Andy Carr just to finish with. This is an easy one.
I don't want an easy one. Give me a hard one.
A hard one? Okay. Movie 43. Why?
I didn't even know that was the title. People come up to me and say that. I didn't even know that was the title of the thing.
Still
I haven't
why?
seen it.
Still why?
There's a man named Charlie, I forget his name. He's the producer of it.
Mm-hmm.
He's the godfather of my stepdaughter
Okay.
and a personal friend. He said, come do this for half a day. I read the thing and it was like, fine, whatever.
You asked for the hard one, so here's the easy one. From listener Andy Carr, The Mothman Prophecies is my personal favourite Richard Gere movie. As a teacher of A-level
That is
film,
a sick man.
As a teacher of A-level film, I often show it to my students as an example of how to make a film creepy, atmospheric, and yet without explicitly revealing the creature. In my experience, too few people have seen this effective 12-rated horror film, and I just wonder what Mr. Gere's thoughts were on the film 11 years later.
I do believe it's a deeply creepy movie. I don't think it's a perfect movie, but it is a creepy movie. It is atmospheric. And one of the tricks of doing a film like that is, how can you make it feel like something is going on? I mean, how do you do that on film? And without showing a monster, without doing the stupid things. You know the worst one I ever saw? The most creepy movie I ever saw? Not the worst. It was a film called The Servant, a Joe Losey film with Dirk Bogarde. Did you ever see this
No.
film? One of the scariest, creepiest movies I've ever seen, but it was just how people behave with each other. Create an environment just through looks, simple actions, through objects being passed, moved around a room. But Mothman Prophecies, yes, I would agree. It's a deeply creepy movie.
Richard, we're out of time. Thank you very much indeed. You ruined my life.
I really would
but,
like
you
to
know,
talk
but-
some more right now.
Okay.
This is it. I have all afternoon. What else am I going to do?
Well,
I've
we
seen
can-
all the museums.
Well, there's some restaurants, and there's a whole bunch of other people who want to ask the same questions.
All right, Mayo, nays.
It's a
Thank
pleasure, apart from how my life turned out.